Hi everyone, this is Tony talking about your 801 or 802 presentations this week if you're a part of the Practicum experience, which we're going to be doing on Zoom. And so what you're going to be doing is presenting an overview of your thesis projects, and you'll have up to 15 minutes to do this. And I'm going to review some suggestions about how to actually do your presentation. And one of the major goals of this is to ask for and receive feedback from the group, because it's always helpful to put your work out there, get some feedback, get some ideas from people, and also I think just the process of doing a presentation helps you to clarify your thinking. And another outcome of this is that it's really a dry run for your required thesis presentations. So for 801, you're going to be doing this on April 6th from 7 to 8:30, and if you're in 802, you're going to be doing your presentations to the group on April 16th from 7 to 8:30. So here's some suggestions about how to do your presentation this week. First, you want to give us an idea of chapter 1, the background and introduction. Tell us a story. Why did you choose this topic? Some of you really did this project out of a deep need, a passion that you have for the field, or some aspect of the field that you really want to address. So what need or problem have you identified? Um, Identified not only perhaps in the institution or clinic or hospital where you're working, but perhaps a need in the field that you've identified, something that you really have decided to work on. And give us an idea in chapter 1, an overview of how do you intend to deal with this need or problem. Just give us a quick overview of this. Again, it's just an introduction, and no need to present your finer framework at this time. In chapter 2, give us an idea of your literature review. How did you do your search? What search terms did you use? What databases did you use as well? What problems did you have in searching for literature? Many of you have taken on projects in which there is no literature. Perhaps maybe the work is being done, but it's not being written up. But what have you discovered in the literature or the related literature? And what did you learn from your literature review, from your search as well as the content? So you probably learned something just searching for appropriate articles, uh, books, papers, webinars, anything. What did you learn as a result of your search, and what did you learn from the content? You could give us some idea about how you organized it without getting into a great deal of detail. You don't want to review specific articles, but give us a big picture of the literature that you've discovered that's out there. In chapter 3, if you're in 801, how will you, or if you're in 802, how did you go about carrying out your project? What methods did you use to carry out your simulation project? Did you use a flipped classroom approach? Um, did you use some didactic in-person approach? What kinds of simulations have you used or will you use, whether it's part task trainer, mannequin-based simulations, hybrid simulations? So just be specific about how you did this. And also, what instruments will you use or did you use, for example, to assess performance or survey the participants? And I guess I would suggest that you include some of the screenshots that you would include in your appendices section. So give us some idea. Do this graphically. Show us exactly what kind of instruments that you are using or are you developing. Now, if you're in 802, give us an idea of your findings. This is mislabeled as methods, but I really mean for 802 chapter 4, you want to give us your findings. What data have you gathered? Was it qualitative or quantitative or a mixed methods approach? How have you analyzed your data? What are your findings so far? What has come about as a result of the project that you've done so far? And some of you may be in the middle of actually doing this. So again, give us an idea of what you're finding out so far. And finally, in chapter 5, conclusions, implications, recommendations. Now what? Now that you've completed your project or getting near to completing it, what do you want to do? What have you learned as a result of this? Perhaps you got findings that you did not expect. Um, so what are the implications of your project? What would you do now? What would you recommend people doing as a result of what you've learned carrying out your thesis project? How will it change your work, your institution? How did it change you? How could it possibly change the field and add to our knowledge of how to do simulations, how to carry them out, how to educate people using simulations? So give us just an idea overall about how you've approached this and what you've learned and what you would do to move forward. And finally, if you would like, please send me your slides and if you want some feedback. One thing I would recommend too is that you keep the words down on your slides, and perhaps we don't want to read your slides. You want to maybe put in some bullet points for your talking points and include graphics whenever possible to tell your story. But if you'd like me to give you some feedback, I'd be happy to take a look at it this week before we do this this coming Wednesday. So have fun with this, because I think presenting is one of the most satisfying things that we can do in our field, because if we're simulation educators, we really want to present our work to people and try to have fun with this, okay? Look forward to hearing your presentations on Wednesday.